Hello coaster lovers. So in your mind, you must have this thing called a bucket list. A bucket list is a list of anything that you want to do at some point in your life. There can be bucket list state capitals, NFL teams, and even roller coasters. So if you're here when the channel started, you've seen a video I uploaded called Top 5 Bucket List Coasters, and it's time for an update. So here is my top 10 bucket list roller coasters. So if you're new here to King's Coasters and have a roller coaster bucket list of yours, this channel will be perfect for you, and consider supporting us by subscribing to King's Coasters. This channel is not doing so well, and it really helps if you subscribe. So before we get in the top 10, there is an honorable mention, and if you have seen the old video, one coaster on the video really shot down, and that coaster is Zadra at Energylandia. This is one of 3 RMCs that you will see on this video, and this coaster looks amazing. This is the best paced RMC by far. No other RMC has better pacing than this coaster. You can see that in the second half, everything is low to the ground and fast. And right above it, the big lift hill structure looks so menacing in the Energylandia skyline, but diving into the ride experience, the drop on these hyper RMCs are spectacular. The only one I've done for now is Steel Vengeance, and that drop is outstanding, and I expect the same for Zadra. The layout is shaped like a hand pointing up, and inside of it are fantastic elements like the stall, wave turn, S-hill, and the final inversion. So let's begin the list. So the next coaster was one I was supposed to ride this year, but it didn't happen sadly. It is Fury 325. This is the only B&M that you will find on this video, and this is the best B&M overall. This coaster has everything, such as a fantastic layout, great pacing, nice location, and a glossy smooth teal and light green track. Just like Zadra, the drops on the B&M Gigas are wonderful. I've done Orion over at Kings Island, and that drop feels like it lasts forever, and I expect the same for Fury. This coaster looks wonderful and top tier. So let's go to the number 9 spot by traveling to the heart of New Jersey for El Toro. This wooden beauty is located at Six Flags Great Adventure in the heart of New Jersey, and this coaster looks undomesticated because when you pull up to this park, you can see the intimidating wooden structure if you can look past King the Ka though. But in the ride experience department, the layout is really good, but it's not the best one on this list. The first 2 camelbacks feels like you're gonna launch into the stratosphere, then after that, the turnaround is pretty shaky, and it's the worst part of the ride. But luckily this year, it got retracked so it's running a lot smoother than it used to be. You also cannot talk about ElToroRyan without mentioning the one-of-a-kind rolling thunder hill. That hill has some of the best airtime in the world, and the S-bands and S-hills are alright. This coaster overall is fantastic. Another wind coaster with an intimidating wind structure is Wildfire at Colmartin. This is one of the best RMCs out there, and it's not hard to see why. The layout is one of the best. The first drop has you levitating out of your seat the whole way down, and the inversions can be floaty and snappy. This coaster has great airtime as well. You can see that in the drop and wave turn. This coaster overall looks magnificent and lovely, but I have nothing else to say. So staying in Europe, this coaster you will definitely not expect to be on here. It's Wilde. Some of you might be confused, but me personally, I love weird roller coasters, and the best one for me is Wilde. This is a rollerball by Ride Engineer Switzerland, and it's located at Schwalben Park in the middle of nowhere in Germany. If you have been to Prater, they have rollerball too. This coaster is famous because of the famous Amascore soundtrack and theme. It's actually really good. I highly recommend you giving it a listen. It's like an EDM song but covered by chickens. It's hilarious. But back to the ride, this coaster actually looks pretty fun. This reminds me of a baby SNS free spin. It's because you have a similar layout, but it's trimmed to death. But that does not ruin the ride experience for me at least. This coaster looks wonderful. So going back to the US, this is the first coaster I will probably be riding on this list. It's Iron Gwazi. Why I say this is the first one I'll be riding before the rest of these is because it's an hour away from where I live. This coaster gives me Steel Vengeance vibes, and I love Steel Vengeance, so that makes me over the top for Iron Gwazi. My excitement level is rising while expressing how excited I am, but diving into the ride experience, the first drop is similar to Steel Vengeance. You just float all the way down, and the airtime is phenomenal. This also has one of the best layouts in my humble opinion. I am psyched to get on this ride. So going international once again, this coaster looks fantastic, but I don't feel like fantastic does it justice. It is too tatus. This is a few intimate blitz coasters that you will see on this list, and I don't mean here, actually, it's an intimate else. I'm like, bro, shut up. Anyways, this roller coaster looks really good. The theming is amazing, but I wouldn't call it top 10 worthy overall. There are coasters with better theming than this, but Tutias is up there. Combine that with a wonderful layout, and you have a fantastic roller coaster. The swing launch has some zip, and the spike feels like you're in space because you are floating. The stall after the top hat looks floaty as well, and all the airtime moments are glorious. This coaster looks amazing. So going to Japan, this coaster grew on me when I heard all of its rave as of recently. It is ElToroRyan. This is one of 2 SNS 4D coasters that were ever built, the other one being Dinoconda at China Dinosaurs Park, which I can honestly put this as a ElToroRyan/Dinoconda spot. These 4D coasters look absolutely insane. If you're from the US, you've probably heard of X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain, and I've heard it's one of the scariest roller coasters an enthusiast has ever rode. Even Sarah from Coaster Studios says so, and I'm intrigued by ElToroRyan and Dinoconda. The layout is short, but it's really good. This is a good example of a quality coaster. The rotations that these trains do are better than X2's rotations, is because it's janky and it feels like it's gonna fall apart. And this is the only coaster on this list that actually gives me the creeps. It looks schizophrenic. So going back to Europe, this coaster is Dutas's friend, Gotham City Escape. This coaster is at Park Warner Madrid in, well, Madrid. And I've heard this coaster is the exact opposite of Velocicoaster. People were saying that it's Spanish Velocicoaster, but after the ride, they were shocked that it's the opposite. This coaster in the skyline of this park is a masterpiece. The placement is also perfect. I love when you're walking towards the SNS drop tower, you see Gotham City Escape's gorgeous top hat. The layout for this coaster is amazing as well, and it's not hard to see why. The 3 launches are lovely, and the airtime is stupendous, and all the inversions are so good. And best of all, the trains are sick. It is so sleek and epic. This coaster looks breathtaking, but it's not the most intriguing European coaster in my opinion. That honor goes to Ride of Happiness at Plopsaland, Japan. This is the second ever Mach Extreme spinner, the first one being Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City if you were curious. This coaster is better than Time Traveler by a long shot. Like the layout, placement, pacing, and not theming, Time Traveler has better theming. But this coaster is spectacular. This is easily the best roller coaster from Mach rides. The launch on this coaster actually has some zip, which is unheard of from Mach. If you're confused, Mach rides are notorious for making weak launches, but on Ride of Happiness, it's not one of them. And the spinning feature with the launch is a fantastic combo. You're spinning non-stop throughout the entire ride, and it's disorienting and it feels messed up. While you're going through the ride layout, you don't know where you're going, and that is what makes it so good. This coaster changed the coaster game, but it's not my top bucket list coaster. This is honestly a tie matchup between this coaster and Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure. And yes, this is not the first time that Velocicoaster places at the number 1 spot. This coaster is definitely my number 1 bucket list coaster, because this coaster has everything I want, such as pacing, theming, an incredible layout, comfortable restraints, launches, etc. I see why this is one of the best roller coasters in the world. The inversions are so good, they intertwine with theming which is great. And speaking of inversions, nothing can top the Mosasaurus roll. It's an inline twist over water if you didn't know, and that looks astonishing. I've heard that's the best part of the ride, so when I visit Iowa, I'll be freaking out because my number 1 bucket list coaster is right across the lake, so I'm riding this no matter what. And I don't care what the wait time is, I will be definitely doing it. This easily takes the crown as my number 1 bucket list roller coaster. So I want to hear from you guys, what's your top bucket list coaster? If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. The support you guys are giving is wonderful. So if you're finding my content finding your likings, here's another video for you to watch. So make sure to keep that adrenaline pumping, and thanks for watching.